Hey guys, today we are going to look at a few literary terms that we're going to add into the literature section of our notebook. If you can go ahead and grab your notebook, flip it over to the literature section, and let's see if we can get these down in there, get our definitions, and see if we can understand them a little bit better. So first off, let's talk about protagonist. You should remember protagonist. I know you've heard it a few times before. The protagonist is the main character, the person that we cheer on, that we hope will get the girl in the end, or make the team, or be elected president of the United States, or whatever the author has set out for their task to be. It's usually the good guy, is what we normally call him. Some common protagonists that we're all familiar with from popular culture: Luke Skywalker and Harry Potter. Both of these would be great examples of protagonists. Couple things to focus on in the word. Pro, the prefix, should mean positive to you, and it's also another word that we usually identify with the word hero. So make sure that you understand protagonist, have the definition down, and let's get ready to look at our next slide. Alright, antagonist, another word you should be familiar with. The antagonist is the person who's against the protagonist, or the bad guy. He is the one who causes trouble for him, it gets in his way, all of that kind of stuff. So we could say, if we're looking at Luke Skywalker is the protagonist, Darth Vader would be the antagonist. If Harry Potter is the protagonist, then Lord Voldemort is going to be the antagonist. So always have a good guy, always have a bad guy. And again, when we're looking at this word, look at anti, which should equal against in your mind, or you might be familiar with the word antagonize. So if you've ever heard that used in a sentence, we could say that my little brother antagonized me by purposefully hiding my favorite sneakers. So again, look at the word antagonize, or antagonist, and make sure that you have that down and you can think of some examples that you might be able to tell us about as well. Next, these next two terms are words that you're probably not as familiar with. This first one is called an antihero. And this is a type of protagonist. If you'll notice, I tried to put the protagonists, put their further definitions or their keywords in green. So this is an example of a protagonist, but usually this person is also a villain or a bad guy. We have started to see the anti-hero really escalate, especially like in TV shows or in movies now. It's a really great way for us to identify with somebody who might not necessarily be the most moral person or have great ethics, but we like them as a character. We can empathize with them and understand their conflicts. So let's take a look. Some that we might be familiar with would be Dexter. If you've ever watched this show, it's on HBO. I don't really watch it, but I do know the story. And Dexter is, he is actually a serial killer. He also has a family and a child and married and all of this kind of stuff, but he is also a serial killer. And I think his tagline is, he kills people who need to be killed. And I guess there's supposed to be, I'm sure there's more to the story, but he would be a perfect example of the anti-hero. Another example would be Tony Soprano. Tony Soprano was the mob boss in the Soprano family. He certainly, quote-unquote, took care of business in lots of different ways that we would not consider ethical. So he definitely fits in with the anti-hero in that aspect. And we also like him as a character. He has things, he has troubles, he has issues that we can identify as well. The one that you guys are probably the most familiar with out of these three is our next example, which is Walter White from Breaking Bad. Walter, for those of us who might not know the whole backstory, Walter was a high school chemistry teacher, and he was diagnosed with cancer. He was really nervous about what the future might hold for his family, and he was really nervous about passing away and not leaving them with enough to have a successful and to have a stable future. So through some deep thinking and some scheming, if you will, he decides to rely on his chemistry skills and becomes basically starts making crystal methamphetamines in his home and starts selling them. Definitely falls under the category of not ethical, and so we are left with nothing more than to point him as a villain. He definitely does not do the things that we want for him to accomplish, but we like Walt. He has common struggles that we can all identify with, and his character is very intriguing to us, and so he definitely fits into that character as well, or to that category of anti-hero as well. All right, last one is the foil character, and the foil character is somebody who serves as a direct contrast to another character, usually to the main character. And the reason for this is because this helps us understand and emphasizes the characteristics of the main character. So let's look at some examples here. Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes. If you've ever read the Sherlock Holmes mysteries, or if you've watched the movies, you can certainly understand that Dr. Watson is an extreme contrast to Sherlock Holmes. Dr. Watson is very calm and methodical. He's very calculating. He has a purpose and a plan for everything that he does. If you look at Sherlock Holmes, on the other hand, he is very spontaneous and tries to do things kind of, he's a fly by the seat of his pants guy, and he just is really much more into mischief and much more spontaneous than Watson would ever be. And it's that contrast that allows us to really investigate their characterization a whole lot more, and they make us want to learn more about them because we can see the differences in each other. You could say the same thing for Ron Weasley and Harry Potter. Definitely as the series goes on, the contrasts become a little bit less striking, but at the beginning we can certainly see that Ron is everything that Harry is not. Harry is very successful. Things come natural to him. He might not know the answers, but somehow he comes up with them, and we root for him and we want for him to be successful. Ron, on the other hand, is kind of a bumbling guy. He doesn't do what he's supposed to do. Everything kind of happens to Ron, whereas Harry is successful. Ron tends to fail or struggle with a lot of things, and that makes Harry's success all the sweeter, but it also helps us understand Ron's struggles even more. So the foil character helps give us a better picture of the characterizations of the main characters a lot more clearly when we look at them with a very close eye. So these are the ones that we're looking at today: antagonist, protagonist, antihero, and foil. Make sure that you have all of the definitions written down in your notebook, and I would go ahead and include examples as well. Something I want you guys to think about are some examples that you have of your own decisions based upon movies or books or TV shows that you're familiar with as well. Take a second, write those down, and then share them with the class, and let's have a little discussion about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, and we will see what we can do to get those questions answered for you. Protagonist and antagonist are definitely going to be on your test, so make sure that you understand those. Antihero and foil we will continue to look at throughout the year. Thanks so much, and we will talk to you guys later.